Hi, this is Sean Comley from Epic Games, and today we're going to have a look at the new-ish cinematic assembly plugin here to help you with your shot management in Unreal Engine. So first things first, let's go to the plugins. And if you go in here, you type cinematic, you'll see the cinematic assembly tools cat. So go ahead and load that and then come on back. Once you do, you'll see this productions pull down tab right here at the top. Pull that down and go to production wizard. Alternatively, you can go to Windows Cinematics and then go to Production Wizard. So what's a production in this context? It's basically just a set of rules that will be default settings when you go to make assets when you're under this production. You can think of a production as a episode inside of a series, cinematic inside of a game, different capture sessions, different projects, it doesn't really matter. So right now, let's just go into here. Revision control, you can connect to revision control. I'm not connected to revision control. I don't know why. Anyways, let's go to productions. These will list all of your other productions that are in the project. Let's just make one. Let's just go dev hub test. Here, if you click it now, you'll see this little checkbox. That means that you are under this active production, and you should see it up here as well. You can switch between productions. Let's jump down to sequencer settings. So when you go to make your level sequence assemblies, these will be the defaults, right? So you could do 24 FPS, 30 FPS. You can do the start frame. You can do 1001, 0, whatever. Subsequence priority, bottom up, which is default. We're going to skip over naming token for a hot minute. We'll come back to this. Don't worry about it. So asset naming, this is one of my new favorite things here. So if you create a naming rule, so let's just go to like material, right? So I am team prefix, not team suffix. Every time I make a material, it's M underscore. Every time I make a material instance, it's MI, right? And I have to go and rename it. Let's see here, what else? Movie render graph for me is always MRG underscore. Now, if you go to the content browser here, and let's make a material, it's M underscore, and then you can go from there, go to cinematics, make a movie render graph, MRG underscore. So team prefix. And now let's go down to folder hierarchy. So this will be, kind of where you start to drop your shots. Let's just make one here. It just says dev hub test, just a little work environment here. And let's go and let's create the template folder. And you should see a dev hub test that goes here. So let's dive into that. And you can close the production wizard for now. So now what we're going to do here today, let's pop open a content browser. Oh, perfect. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to take this existing project, the awesome Agora project that we just released, and we're going to try and replicate their level sequence setup through the Cine assembly tools. So here they have a episode called, O2 intro beta. This is how they have their shots structured and numbered. So this is O2 episode, 10 is the sequence, and then 5 is the shot. And if you drop in here, this is the first shot, not a good example. If you drop in here, you'll see that there is a shot level sequence. Then they have sublevels, which they have animation, effects, and lighting. And then they have a anim workspace folder here. So we're going to replicate this just using the Cine assembly tools. So let's go down here into our dev hub test. And if you right click there and go into cinematics, you'll see there's a Cine assembly and a Cine assembly schema. Just go into Cine assembly real quick. Don't worry about this shot schema for now. But basically, again, a schema is just a set of rules that Unreal Engine will refer to and listen to when you go to make your level sequences and your shots. These are the default ones here, the UnrealScene schema and the Unreal Shot schema that are provided for you. This UnrealScene schema will replicate kind of the level sequence with shots, the top level of the level sequence with shots here. So like this level. And then this is the shot level schema. So it will replicate a individual shot. So for right now, we're going to start off and we are going to make our scene level schema here. So we're going to go here. We want to reference our level. Our level will be intro, beta, master. We won't have a parent assembly right now. And then let's just go ahead and name this. So let's just name it, O2 intro beta. And let's just tag it real quick. Dev hub test. Dev hib. That's right. Okay, and let's create our Unreal Scene. There we go. So now we have this folder here. If you hop in here, it's got the universal scene. It dropped these things in here probably because of the defaults. You can go and edit the defaults here or just make your own. If you go over here, go to hierarchy, it looks like they have that. That's okay. We can just ignore that for now. Now, we want to go in here and we want to start making our shot level assemblies, right? So we have our Unreal shot, but we want to go and make our own because we want to make it very bespoke. We want to have a certain kind of naming. We want to have this certain folder structure. So let's go back out here and let's right click and go to cinematics and go to Cine Assembly Schema. So we're going to make our own schema here, right? First things first, let's just name it a dev hub test schema, whatever. Description, whatever. I don't know. Don't worry about it. We're not going to do a parent schema. We're not going to do a thumbnail image. We're not going to do any of this for now. But the default assembly name, actually, we're going to go and just bear with me here. So we're going to do curly bracket episode underscore curly bracket sequence underscore curly bracket shot. So what this will do is this will replicate episode sequence shot. Let's make that a cap. All right. And now let's go into metadata and let's define that. So it's going to be a string episode. We're going to say evaluate token. And then what we want this to be is when we go to name our shots here, let's go back in here. When we go to make our shots and name our shots, we want to be able to name it here, not hard coded in. To say to evaluate tokens to make this a token just means that you're going to make it a variable that you're going to go change later. And then you can put a default here. So we're just going to put a O2 there for now. And then we're going to go to sequence token. And then what is it? O10. And then we're going to go make a shot. Evaluate it. And we're not going to put a default in there because it's going to be different. Okay. And then content hierarchy. So this is where we go and we replicate the content hierarchy, right? So let's go and let's make this folder here, right? So 02, 10, 50. So let's add a folder. So this will be curly bracket episode, shot. So exactly like that before. Let's move this assembly here. So this assembly will be this. Now we have a sublevels folder and we have an anim workspace folder. So let's add a folder. So sublevels, bring up the capital L. Then we have anim workspace. There we go. So make sure that everything is on the right level here, right? So we want this to be inside of our shop folder. And you just drag and drop. Okay, now if we were to pop into anim workspace, you'll see that it's episode sequence shot, sequence anim works. Let's add an asset. So it will be curly bracket assembly, and then sequence, and then anim work here. And you can drag that under anim work. And this level sequence will be that level sequence. And let's add an asset here. Let's go back, have a look at our sublevels, and it's the same thing. So let's rename, right click, rename. We can this. Okay, right click, rename. And then this will be light. This will be effects. And what was it called? Animation. And this will be animation. Okay. And let's drop this under these sublevels. Folder. Okay, great. So now if we were to create the schema, go over and create the shots, it will create our shot where we have, lighting sublevels and effects sublevels and main levels. Awesome. But the problem is we won't have our characters in there, we won't have lighting in there, we won't have effects in there. Like if your characters are going to be in, 99% of the shots, you want it to automatically be bound to the animation sublevel, or if you have environment lights that you want to spawn in all the shots, you want that to already be in the level. What's awesome about this is you can use example levels to create from, right? So it's a really smart advanced copy. You can create a template shot, so to speak, to create everything off of. We're gonna use 50. I have no idea if 50 is a great thing to use or not, but we're gonna roll with it. So let's go to 50, and this is the sequence animorph. Here we go. Animation. Whoops, that's not animorph at all. So let's go to, I think it's sequence. Yeah, and then this. All right, and effects. Like, okay. So now when we create a shot based off of this schema, it's going to take these sublevels and it's going to copy them over and use this as the reference. Let's go ahead and create the schema. Awesome. So now our schema is right there. Let's dive into here and let's go cinematics, cine assembly. So now we have this dev hub test schema. Great. So let's go in here. The parent assembly is our dev hub intro right here. And now we can go in here and say, okay, it's episode 2, sequence 10, and here is where we can go in and we can make our shot. So, I don't know, let's just go make shot 100. And you type that in, and you give it a second, and everything will update, right? The assembly name and all the sublevels and everything like that. If you go look at the hierarchy, this is what it's going to make, and this is where it's going to make it. And you can even put, notes in your hello. And let's create the test schema here. And now we see shot 100 is dropped in here. So if you dive in here, here's our test schema. You see there's some metadata in there, when it got made, who made it. There's our user description down there that says hello. We dive in here, you'll see, so if we open this now, you'll see that it's moved everything over from our template sequence, right? If you go into here, the effects, it's got everything spawn in here. The lighting, we have our lighting spawn, so awesome. So we made our, shot 100 shot here. Okay, now let's dive back into the production wizard and we can briefly talk about the naming tokens. Naming tokens here is exactly what we just made when we made our schema, right? So right here, we made some definitions. We said that it's going to be a token. We gave it a default so that, when you were to go in to make your shots and you type string and then define, or sorry, not string, you type episode, it will know, okay, the default is 02, but you can change that to be anything you want. So in the production wizard, here's some default ones, right? So here's the, kind of default UE tokens that you can use. This is the cinematic assembly tool defaults that they have provided for you. And then here's some tape recorder ones for, if you're on a capture stage for shoot that you could use within tape recorder, which is super handy. And you can make your own naming tokens that you can use within Movie Render Graph as well. I'll probably make a separate video for that. But let's go over just how to quickly make your own naming tokens here. So if you right click here, you type naming tokens, you now have a new node. So NT through dev hub, right? So now let's double click into here. You'll see that you've opened a blueprint. We can nuke that. And let's hit the class defaults. First things first, you need a namespace. So in this context, the namespace is cat or tr. We're just going to do div is our namespace. And then you can put in the display name and the test token input if you want, whatever. Let's just click a plus sign, and now we're gonna create a token here. So we're just gonna, let's just get the name of the level or something. So the token key is get level, display name, get level, fine. And hit this little plus button here, and this will be, it'll make a function for you. So let's just go get level. There you go, and it wants a text input, so it'll automatically convert from a string, and you hit compile. Okay, awesome. Now relaunch the production wizard, close the production wizard, relaunch production wizard, naming tokens, and now you see that your naming token has gone in here. It is namespace get level. So now if we go back into, let's make Cine assembly. So if we go here and let's just say that we want to go, okay, well, we're going to do GD. And today is the 5th that I'm recording this on. You can do a user, right? And it should say Sean Comley. Great. Now, so these are default ones. And in the default ones, you don't have to use the prefix. The prefix is there just so if there was a certain get level one under the dev and a certain get level one under a different production, they wouldn't stomp over each other. So here, what we're going to do is we are going to do curly bracket dev colon get level. And now if you give it a second, it says, intro, beta, master, level. So this is super powerful. You can go out and get information from your level. You can get information from assets. You can go out and ping an external database to, get information and naming. Super, super, super powerful and awesome. Okay, so that's naming tokens. And, you may be saying, awesome, great. I made one shot. I need to make 50 shots. Well, so there's a Python API for all of this. There's also a Blueprint API to all this. I will link the docs to the Cine assembly tools. Here's the Python API reference. And then there's some naming token references as well if you want to make some defaults in C++. But for now, let's just make like a quick little blueprint that we can make some shots from. Not sure why. I mean, at a utility actor, it's whatever. We'll just use that. I think I just use them so much, it just automatically do that. Fine, we can be a little unhinged in how we make our shots. So let's go over here into the event graph. Let's nuke this. Let's make a custom event. And we'll just, whatever, name it whatever you want. Call in editor so we can get a button. Everybody loves a button. And then let's go here and type create assembly. And let's zoom in on this. So this is the node or function that you can use to iterate through and create a bunch of shots here. So the schema that we are going to use is the dev hub test schema. The level that we want is intro level beta. And then this is the dev hub intro. So this is our parent assembly. So this right here, everything, oh, sorry, this right here. There we go. And then, so now what we want to do is we're going to give it a path where all the shots are going to be made. So let's just copy this, go in here and paste this like that. Okay. And now let's make a variable. Not this. Oh, why constant? So shots to make, and it's going to be a string type. These are going to be all the shots we're going to make. We're going to make this public. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to make this an array. Let's grab this. Get for each. So we can loop over this. Okay, and the thing that we are going to want to change over and over again, rather than the episode, which we've already given a default, and a sequence, which we've given it a default, is we want to change shot. So let's go make map here. We want to put this in the value, not the key. Drag this in here, and the key is shot. All right, so we're going to want to change the shot token as we iterate through all of this stuff. So let's compile. Okay, great. And now let's drag this in here. There we go. So now we have this button here. So let's do 110. What do we do? 100, 0. So 0110 and then 0120. And again, you guys can do this in a better way. But whatever. This is just an example. There you go. Shot here. Yeah, let me hook it up. I'm really good at blueprints. If you guys haven't noticed it yet. There we go. Shot. Let's get the shot button. And there we go. We've made shot 110, one shot 120, 130. You go in here, you have your sub levels, everything here. So again, there's probably a million better ways to do this than through a editor utility actor, but that's just that's just how we roll here. So yeah, this is just a, quick-ish introduction to the cinematic assembly tools. It's awesome. It's powerful. It's only going to get better and better and better. So yeah, try them out. Hopefully this was helpful and y'all have a great rest of your day.